I thought I'd get started on lunch. It's going to photograph roasted potato leek soup and garlic bread. And then maybe we'll even eat it for lunch. So one of the things I always love to do, as I say often, is I like to take a classic recipe and update it, make it a little more modern, give it much more flavor. Everybody knows vichyssoise, which is French potato leek soup, but it's not that exciting. So I thought it'd be great if I could roast the potatoes, roast the leeks all together so they're sort of caramelized and add lots of other ingredients. So I've got 2 pounds of Yukon Gold potatoes peeled, and I've got these huge leeks. I need about 4 cups of diced leeks. And the thing with leeks is you always want to make sure there's no sand in them. There's absolutely no point in making soup if it's filled with sand. So what I do is I just slice it right down the middle, and then I'm going to take it over to the sink and run it under the water, both of them. Okay, those aren't so bad. Now I'm going to give them that big chop and roast them with the potatoes. So I'm going to take off all the green parts. They can be a little tough, and leave the light green and white parts. Okay, now just dice them up. Remember, I'm going to be roasting these, and then I'm going to make soup out of it. So it doesn't matter that they're perfectly diced. It matters that they're delicious. Okay, onto a roasting pan. Potatoes and the leeks. Okay, olive oil. Can't roast without olive oil. Good olive oil. I use California olive oil. Okay, lots of salt and pepper. Make sure it has great flavor. I'm going to roast this at 400 degrees for about 40 to 45 minutes, just until the potatoes are really nice and tender. And then I'm going to add some arugula. After it's roasted for 40 to 45 minutes, I'm going to add about 3 cups of arugula. It's got a really nice peppery flavor. I'm going to put it back in the oven for 5 minutes until the arugula just wilts, and it just adds that extra depth of flavor that I'm looking for. Ooh, that soup's going to be so good with herb garlic bread. I'm making this soup for an article on the Classics Updated, and my friend Miguel is photographing it for me. I'm taking potato leek soup, which is classically vichyssoise, and I'm giving flavor to everything. So what I've done is I've roasted the potatoes and the leeks, bring out the flavor in them, just thrown in some arugula at the last minute, just enough to wilt it. Now what I'm going to do is add a little bit of white wine, about 1/2 cup, to the pan, just to scrape off all those brown bits that give a sauce so much flavor, and I'm going to make sure it gives the soup lots of flavor. And it gets absorbed in the potato. And it's going to give it lots of great flavor. Okay, that's all done. So I'm just going to take it and put it in the food processor. What I'm looking for is a soup that's smooth but has some texture. So I'm just going to pour that half in. I'll have to do it in 2 batches. These vegetables smell fantastic. So I'm just going to add some chicken stock. I'm going to use about 5 cups total, just enough to blend this. I want it coarse but chunky. Fantastic. Okay, into the pot, then I'm going to finish blending the rest. Okay, so that's the puree. Now I'm going to make it into soup. Just turn it on low heat. I'm going to add a little more chicken stock. It's about 5 cups total, but just enough until it's the right consistency. You want it thick, but not, you don't want it to taste like a vegetable. You want it to taste like soup. So just whisk it in. It's pretty thick. A lot depends on how much starch is in the potatoes. I'm going to add a little cream. And since it's a French soup, I'm going to add a little creme fraiche. So about 3/4 of a cup of cream, just to give it a nice richness. And then 8 ounces of creme fraiche, which gives it a little sour, sort of tart flavor. This is going to be wonderful. Just plain cream, a little creme fraiche, adds a sort of sourness to it, which is great. This is really nice. It's got a nice texture. It's clearly soup. It's not a cream vegetable. A little more salt always brings out the extra flavor. I thought it'd be great to contrast the texture of the creamy soup with something crispy like these crispy shallots. Here's how you do them. Just add 1½ cups of light olive oil to a saucepan with 3 tablespoons of butter. Put it in a thermometer and turn the heat on medium-low. Meantime, slice 6 shallots in thin rings. You want crispy? You've got to have thin rings. When the oil and butter reach 220 degrees, you're all ready. So turn the heat to low and add the shallots. They'll take about 30 to 40 minutes to cook. Keep the temperature below 260 degrees so they don't burn. When they're golden brown, take them out with a slotted spoon and spread them onto paper towels to dry. Once the shallots are fried, just store them at room temperature. These are going to be so delicious, sprinkled over the leek and potato soup. All I have left is the herb garlic bread, and everything's going to be ready for its close-up. Soup's nice and hot. So first I'm going to whisk in 2 tablespoons of white wine, then 1/4 cup of grated Parmesan cheese, and I'll leave that to simmer for a minute. Then I'll cut big, thick slices of garlic bread. Then the soup gets ladled into bowls, and the finishing touches, extra Parmesan cheese and those fabulous crispy shallots. It's so beautiful.